All right, let's do this.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another live stream in the world of Vera. I am joined today by three glorious developers. Actually, we have quite a few of our developers are participating in today's live stream. I'm not going to go through everyone. You'll see their usernames, their game handles on the top left side in our Raid UI. But I have three amazing developers who are joining us today that have all taken part in helping to design the Cyclops and the combat that goes around it. I know you guys in the community have been very excited to kind of see today's demonstration. We're not going to get too elaborate in the designs of the Cyclops raid because we don't want to spoil it for you, but just as a disclaimer, this is one of the very first World Raid bosses that'll be available for players to participate in. So this is not super endgame, but it is going to give you some insight into how we're designing these encounters. And first up, we have one of our senior designers, Mr. Doug. How are you doing, Doug?
Good evening. I'm doing pretty well. I'm excited to show this off. We've been working on it for a while, and so
yeah. I'm super excited for you guys to show it off too. I know you guys have been hard at work on this one and a lot of other creatures. And this is your first time joining us on the stream, isn't that right?
That is correct. I have not streamed before.
Super exciting. We have a stream virgin with us. Very cool. We also have with us one of our glorious senior technical designers, Mr. Jason. How you doing, Jason?
Hey, how's it going?
And you are the, this one's your baby, right? This Cyclops was kind of your design.
Yeah, been plucking away at him for a while.
I remember the first time we chatted about this guy. You had such a great kind of premise for his backstory and the design elements of it. I thought it was super cool. I love the detaching tree, which our viewers are going to see in a little bit. So I'm super excited that you have an opportunity to kind of talk with the community about this and get their take on some of these designs. And then we have one of our regularly occurring senior designers on the combat side, Mr. Trad. How you doing, Trad?
Doing great. Good to be back as always.
Yes, welcome. So we find ourselves here in the Riverlands, and it appears to be a winter time. It's beautiful. Actually, I really like it. So one of the first things I would love to chat with you guys about is kind of how you set up this particular raid boss, the Cyclops, in the Riverlands. Talk to me a little bit about his pathing. Like, where does he live in the world? What's his backstory? Just tell me things about him.
Yeah, I think you could take this one, Jason.
Oh, so yeah, like the Cyclops, his name is Tumak, and a long time ago, he, is from the land of Sujoma, and that's where like all the Cyclopses are from. He decided it would be a good idea to try to align himself with the ancients that invaded Vera, and he took some of his followers to follow in those footsteps, and that didn't work out so well for him. He's the last remaining Cyclops of his his people he took to try and join the ancients, and the rest of his people kind of exiled him for that, and they didn't want him back. So he's kind of all on his own, and has kind of paid for some of those mistakes of misaligning himself. And
okay, so he's got a little bit of a backstory, some pain in there, maybe some betrayal, and I guess he kind of turned against his fellow citizens of Vera. Where are you guys at, by the way? I know we have a couple parties that are hanging back at the camp. Oh, there you guys are. Why don't you come join me over here? I wanna talk a little about, kind of his pathing, and I noticed that there are also some like winter spiders over here or something. What is going on over here?
Yeah, so there are some giant spiders over here, and one thing that we'd like to demonstrate today is that, not every enemy in Vera is going to just behave like they're simple, aggro immediately and beeline for you. The giant spider might not necessarily want to engage these scary looking adventurers. So he's going to stand off and, hope that you, back away. And
oh, that is so creepy. I love the anim for this. So he's kind of not necessarily aggroing, but he's just like, don't come any closer.
Like keep talking.
Back off. Get away from me.
Yeah, he is kind of
Ow.
peacocking. I'm set to invulnerable because I want us to be able to kind of walk with the Cyclops as we see him start to path here. But
But
I
wild animals just, not every single wild animal is going to immediately beeline for you. And so that's the kind of behavior we want to capture, some more ambient behaviors you might not expect to see in an MMO. Maybe some creatures hunting each other, these kinds of, more believable behaviors from wild animals.
That's super cool. Ooh, yeah, I like them. That's awesome. It adds an element of immersion, I feel like. So
But if you do stay within their range or get too close to them, then they might defend themselves. So
that's super cool. So talk to me a little bit about the Cyclops and its path and how you guys kind of determine, where this guy's going to roam and why it's an important aspect that the boss is kind of roaming through the woods, or through the world.
yeah,
Oh, I
so
hear.
we work with the world team to decide what that path is going to be, and we want to make sure that that there's something of interest. In Vera, no matter where you go, no
Put
matter
yourself invulnerable just in case. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You're good.
no matter where you look, no matter what path you go down, that there's always a chance you're going to see something you didn't expect or you didn't see before. So
Oh, I love this guy. He's so massive, and I like how he kind of walks through the trees, triggering their destruction. Oh, that's so cool that he interacts with the environment like that.
yeah, definitely going to help you to listen. You can just listen in the woods, and if he's patrolling around, you're going to hear him.
Oh my gosh, this guy's huge. Now, oh, sorry, my bad. I thought for a second there he was going to aggro me. But just so you guys are aware in the stream, I've set myself to invulnerable so that we can kind of just walk near him and see his massive nature. And Doug, Jason, talk to me a little bit about the inspiration for this guy as a character model. Like, what were you guys, working with the character teams to kind of? I notice he has this massive tree. Talk to me a little bit about that element.
Yeah, I think that was actually a little bit improvised, the design, based on what the character came back with. Jason, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, when the character artists were making this, they had this cool idea of just having this giant tree weapon that a Cyclops would hold. And we took that idea and just kind of embraced it, make it part of his character and the embellishments that he wears, and using that to kind of inform what type of encounter that he might be. So we ended up making the tree like a pretty core part of it, and it informs some of his combat abilities and phase transitions even in the fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's a collaborative process. Sometimes it's design asking for something specific from art, and sometimes art is what informs the design. So,
Oh, he looks great. The character did a great job with this. Do you know who's the character artist that worked on this? Was it Keith? I think it might have been Keith.
that's
I
sounds
think
about right.
Keith, or it could have been Jency or somebody.
Yeah. They did a great job either way. I mean, it looks looks phenomenal. I know we have a couple of parties that are going to assist us with this particular fight. Talk to me a little bit about this encounter as a raid boss. What is the expectation from the actual raid size that you guys are anticipating for the design?
I think that's gonna vary depending on the level of the raid, obviously, and then sort of how geared they are. But we're kind of aiming for somewhere between 16 and 32, probably depending again on level and equipment.
Very cool. So this guy's a really early kind of world boss, and we want to introduce players early to the idea of these raids. And by the way, as we're kind of chatting about this, those of you who are going to be helping us defeat this guy with our two parties, if you want to start heading over to the arena, we are waiting here for you. I will set myself off of the GM invulnerability here. Let me see. There we go. Hopefully I don't aggro him. It's important, as we were talking about, to kind of introduce players into what raiding really means in Ashes, and talk to me a little bit about kind of the general design approach that you take with creating these types of encounters. There are obviously phases, there's different elements in those phases that kind of change dynamically the way you want players to interact. What are we going to see here a little bit?
Yeah, this is definitely like a more introductory raiding experience, so it's not going to be too complicated, but I think there are some really interesting mechanics regardless, and I think Jason can talk about those.
Yeah, so when I first started designing this guy, we had Trad and the other guys on the archetype team looking at, forming the classes that people have been seeing over the live stream, and really before those kind of come to fruition, and knowing what the full abilities are and everything, I started the design with the core trinity in mind. So the roles are very obvious. Tanks will tank, healers will heal, and DPS will try to take down the targets that they need to. And starting from there, I try to keep that in mind, not to overcomplicate it, so that they always have that like individual trinity idea amongst the different mechanics.
Yeah, so we got some classic staples in here. We've got, ads that off tanks are going to have to peel off, and crowd control that's going to need to be applied to those ads. We've got priority targets that are going to pop up that need to be killed. We've got, damage that's going to be unavoidable, so that, even with an expert group that can dodge all of his avoidable attacks, the healers are still going to have work to do to keep everyone alive.
Very cool. Very cool. Love it. You guys will notice, obviously, on the stream that there have been some updates to a little bit of the nameplates that Colby and the UI team have implemented, as well as some of the targeting plates as well. But who do we have as our tank today?
That would be me. Doug will be tanking.
Doug will be tanking. All right. Very cool. And then we also have, I'll be playing as a mage, but I will be trying to capture some good shots of the encounter to a degree. Trad, what are you playing?
I am a mage as well, just like you.
Oh, okay, very cool. And then how about you, Jason?
I'm playing the cleric.
Nice. Well, Doug, I don't want to stand in the way of your greatness, so please, by all means, sir, you may commence when ready.
All right, Leroy Jenkins.
Leroy, let's do this!
We got
Try
it.
not to let me die, Jason.
Yeah, no promises.
Oh, he's an angry Tumok. Oh my god, that looks like it hurts.
Yeah, if you don't block that, you get smushed.
Oh, I love his animation. So talk to me a little bit about some of these attacks. What do you got going on here, Jason and Doug?
So yeah, his first phase here, he has a lot of physical attacks, but he also employs a lot of attacks using his tree, like we see there with the roots hitting us. And right now, you can see he's pulling some fungus out of the tree and using that to heal himself. He has a tank spike attack where he smashes the tree into the tank that Doug was blocking earlier. And generally does a lot of like AoE splash damage that other melee will want to avoid, not stand together.
Yeah, he's not a particularly complex raid boss, but he's a great example of sort of what we want to do with large creatures in Ashes. Having them interact with the environment, having that camera shake, that, those knockdowns that make it feel like he is here and he is crushing you.
So cool.
Oh, he looks... Oh my god, he keeps just charging there. I'm just barely missing him. Now, talk to me a little bit about kind of the raid boss designs. Like, you guys are working with multiple stages. I noticed that right now he's just kind of, roaming around. He has different targets on his hate list. Tell me, like, what's your general philosophy? How did you guys approach this?
Yeah, so I think Jason did this a little bit earlier, but we designed this boss pretty early on when a lot of the classes were still in their sort of nascent form. So we really just wanted to focus on the Trinity, making sure that everyone has a purpose in this raid, a role, whether you're someone who's focused on CC, whether you're a tank, a healer, a DPS, giving those classic mechanics to give everybody a job in the raid. Like right now, for instance, he's put this tree down, and there are going to be these healing caps that appear, and those are going to be a priority objective for DPS to take down before they grow to full size, because if they do, he's going to go over, he's going to stomp them, and he's going to get healed for a huge percentage of his health.
Wow. So we got to take this tree out because he's just going to keep healing.
Yeah, and you definitely got to switch over to those healing caps when they appear. There it
That's
is.
super cool. So he heals off of the mushrooms as well.
Yeah, and as a player, if you destroy them, or even if he stomps on them, if you happen to be nearby when they blow up, you can get that heal as well. So if you're taking some damage from the thorns from the tree, or you got hit by one of his large, stomp attacks, you might have a chance to get healed up if you run over to those mushrooms before they blow up.
Okay, we almost have this tree down. Come on, guys, focus it down. Focus major DPS on the tree. Let's try to kill this thing. It's almost done. Get it before he picks it up. Yes, everything. Release it all. Oh, well done. Uh-oh. Oh
He's gonna
my
Hulk it up now.
God. Why is he so mad?
He does not like when you break his weapon.
What the heck?
I mean, who would?
Jason, where'd you get the idea for the kind of tree totem?
A lot of that came from the original design that we got from character art, in that we really enjoyed the way that it's synergized with his look, so we wanted to employ the use of the tree as like a core part of his encounter. And we ended up using it as like a magical tree where he gets a lot of his abilities, but without that he seems to get really mad, and his more primal Cyclops giant nature comes back, as we see here.
Wow, that's cool. So talk to me about those kind of slams that he's doing. And also I noticed, like, as he's running around, the trees are falling, the stone obelisks are kind of getting destroyed. Is there intent for these kind of environmental hazards to exist as well as part of the raid design?
Yeah, absolutely. For our large creatures, Cyclopses, dragons, things like that, we want to make sure that the world feels dynamic and it's reacting to their big size. If a huge, 20-meter tall beast is walking through the woods and not knocking down a single tree, that just doesn't feel believable. So we want to make sure that, you're going to hear that, and that's going to be a way you can know in the distance there's something that you want to go and investigate.
That is super cool. I died, but I'm on my way back.
No, those slams hurt really bad.
Yeah, one of the aspects of the phases in this fight is actually that he has those healing abilities when he has his totem tree, his nature magic, but and he is more primal when he's in this phase. As a result, you can take him down a little quicker when he's enraged, but it's also going to be a lot more incoming damage for your healers to work through. So, depending on your raid composition, your equipment level, you might want to sustain longer in that earlier phase, even if it takes a while through all that healing, because if you push him too early, you might just wipe.
Oh, I love it, guys.
Here he goes again.
Oh, no. God! Oh.
I was getting crushed there. It was right under his fists.
Oh, this poor guy. Look at him. His little eye. Wow, that was very cool. Well done, guys. That was awesome. Does he have any loot? Can we loot him? I wonder. Sword of the Briarholm, a longbow, a short bow, and a mace. Ooh, very nice. Well, that was a lot of fun. Very well done. I thought that was very cool. Guys, as you guys are watching this, remember, obviously this is one of the earliest world bosses in Ashes of Creation that you'll have an opportunity to encounter, just getting your feet wet and what the raid boss system's going to look like. We have a lot of